All right, hello everyone. I'm Yelena. This is our introduction to Apache Spark on IBM Cloud session. All right, so here is the tonight agenda. There are going to be some key reminders, including what not to do. I know I sound like a broken record, but I have to repeat it. We're going to talk about the Spark environment usage. I'm going to remind you how to ask for assistance effectively. We're going to talk about the introduction to Spark environment, elements of Python notebook, high-level steps to run the notebook, right, and some troubleshooting tips. So now, most of you have been doing a good job with this. You have asking effective questions as part of data analyst and data scientist career. So basically, when you need an assistant, you need to explain how should I, if I was going to be you, what steps should I follow to reproduce the issue, right? What steps did you take? What results did you get? And what is the expected result? And please do submit the screenshots whenever possible, right? Because if if you're getting an error, right? Sometimes I need to see the screenshot of an error. Uh, you can attach up to 5 screenshots when you submit the ticket, right? So you try to do this. You got that, but you expected that, something like that, right? And another reminder is that when you submit the Salesforce case, please make sure to select virtual lab support, because if you select the wrong case type, it's not going to get to me, it's going to get to the wrong department, all right? And also, please do not call the UMGC help desk because they don't know what your assignment is. If you submit the case where Salesforce form in a classroom, you get assistance faster, all right? And please do not lose the case number. You're gonna get an email. First email is with the case number. Save that number because sometimes if the case goes to the wrong queue, if you give me the number, I can find it by number, all right? So now, what not to do? Do not deactivate your IBM Cloud account. You cannot undo this. And then how are you gonna do? You cannot get another code. Well, not actually until December for another year, right? Please do not put credit card information because that's gonna be a big problem, right? What's gonna happen? Your account is gonna turn into paid account. Not only you're gonna be charged, but how you're gonna get help. If me, I don't have paid account. I only have an academic account, all right? This one, do not delete object storage. So what's an object storage? Basically, it's a container where the data for the project that you create will be stored, right? So please do not delete the storage. Do not contact IBM unless I tell you to do so. Please, this is going to be especially important for assignment 2, the second part where you write a code. Please do not post the code into the discussion. Somebody try to do that. That's not good, right? Because that's your for grading, right? Please do not open Spark Notebook in multiple windows because you end up consuming more capacity hours, and I'll talk about capacity hours. Before you exit the notebook, you have to stop the kernel. So basically, when you run the notebook, the environment is running, and the environment is consuming capacity hours, right? So Spark consumes 1.5 capacity hours per clock hour, and you have 10 capacity hours per month. But trust me, that's enough if you are doing the work right, okay? You need to stop the kernel before you exit in the notebook. Do not forget to stop the runtime, and I'll show you. And another thing is that, well, I know there's going to be no more data 650, but sometimes sharing your work with others could be dangerous, okay? Some universities penalize both if somebody else submits your work, but here the second person is going to be penalized because all work isn't turned in. All right, so please just submit your original work, okay? So what is environmental runtime? Spark, when a Spark runs, it consumes the capacity unit for it consumes the capacity units. You get 10 for calendar months, right? So right now we are in June, you get 10, then late on June 30th, very late on the last day of the month, you're gonna be credited to 10 hours again. So the leftover hours cannot be transferred yet. If you run out of hours for the month, you won't be able to do any work until next month. I know it's brutal, but that's what it is. But tel capacity unit hours is actually 6.6 actual hours. You're not gonna be running the code for 6 hours, right? So you need to be aware that when the notebook is open in edit mode, it's running, it's consuming the hours. There is a way to open the notebook in a view mode if you want to just study the code. So before you log out, you stop the runtime, but remember this, closing browser tab does not stop the runtime environment. If you close the browser tab by accident, you want to log back in, right, to your account, go back to the environment and stop, and I'll show you the page to stop, all right? If you forgot, it happens. Stop as soon as you remember, okay? And what's interesting is that it shows you how many capacity hours you consume and how many capacity hours you have left. Even if you run out of hours, the environment does not stop by itself. So once in a while, you may see something like consume 100 hours, right? And 0 hours left. But you're gonna say, where does 100 come from? I only have 10. Well, it does run, it keeps on running. Basically, what happens when the hours run out? If you already started the environment, you will be able to continue doing the work, but you won't be able to start the environment again. That's how it works, all right? So this is must know vocabulary. You need to know what's IBM Cloud, right? You need to know what's a Cloud Pak. In some regions, it's called Watson Studio, but it's a sub-platform on IBM Cloud, right? Please understand what a project is. Project is a container of all the works like data. You upload the notebooks, right? You upload it into the project. You have a cloud object storage. This is where the project data is stored. You have a Python notebook, and the notebook consists of cells. There are different cells types, the cells with the code and cells with the markup, right? So you have a runtime environment. Please understand what credentials are. Spark context, what is a bucket, right? Object storage consists of the buckets. And for each project, there is a bucket that allocated, right? Remember this one. And then you know what the kernel is. You know what the capacity hours. Action command versus transformation command, right? So remember that there are two types of commands. And some commands will actually return the error if there is an error, right? So now, what do you need to do? You need to log into Cloud Pak for data. It's a sub-platform used to develop, train, and manage artificial intelligence model. You're gonna create a new project. You put project name and description. If this is a first project, more likely sometimes you might be asked to create an object storage, but most of the time, object storage is created for you. Then there is a setting in object storage that you need to set to allow storing the data, to allow adding data to the project, which is I'm going to do in a few. So this is a IBM Cloud Pak. I have a bunch of projects, right? So I probably want to create a new project. So here is a new project, right? New project. And I'm going to name it, let's say summer. Oops, it remembers what I typed before. This is summer, oops. And I'm gonna put this 2025 demo, right? And here just demo. I just put demo. This is optional. Now what? See this picks up that I already have an object storage on my account. We leave this alone and we're gonna say create. Okay? So I'm creating a project. It's a placeholder for all my files and notebooks for the assignment. And you may reuse the same project for your next, for the assignment too, right? So now what? This is just an overview. Assets, this is gonna be your data and notebooks that are inside the project, right? But if you go to manage, this is a project ID, but also if you scroll down, see this is very important. This is the bucket name. You can get it from here, and I'll show you. There are several ways to get it, but there is a place in the code where you have to plug in, when you have to put the bucket name. So there are several ways to get it. You can go to manage, right? And you can copy it to the notepad. You can get the bucket name from here, all right? That's one way. Okay, now another way is in the code, and I'll show you. But another thing is that here you can see if there is anything running within this project. Not overall project, but within this specific project. You don't have anything running. But if you had something running, you could just stop it, right? That's one way. So let's go back to assets. What do I need to do is, I need to import data, right? They keep on changing this on me all the time. Okay, so data, and I'm gonna select local file, and this is gonna be data set, browse, and I have this data on the desktop with this demo. It's, I thought I had it on the desktop. See, here we go, employee attrition. I go open. Okay, so now it's completed. I'm gonna click on done. Right now, I'm not using any capacity hours, right? Because what I did was I just uploaded my data. That's it. I have not done anything yet. I'm not running any environments right now. But now it's gonna be harder. I'm gonna do this new asset, and I need to find my notebook. See, like if I have to go here, it's gonna be work with models, and it's gonna be something like this one here. Work with data and models in Python and R notebooks. They keep on changing the names all the time, but it should say something like Python or R notebooks, all right? So I'm gonna select this guy right here. What is next? I have several options here. I can create a brand new notebook and write everything from scratch, or I can use any of the samples, or in this case, you probably want to do the local file. That's gonna be the file that you download from the classroom assignment folder. Browse, in my case, I saved that file in the desktop. So this one, employee attrition file, right? So I'm gonna click on open. It's gonna inherit the name from the file name. Runtime. This is very important. You need to select correct runtime. It has to be Spark, and it has to be Python. See the Spark and Python. The latest version is Python 3.11. But I have to warn people a little bit. If you're doing the work late, it's quite possible that this version gonna be deprecated and they're gonna add a new version. But if they update the version, then it's gonna be up to the students to figure out, because sometimes the code may need to go through some changes. Sometimes the code might not work as is in the new Spark version. You might need to do some tweaking. So, but let's not worry about it now. You guys are good students. You're gonna do it on time, right? So see this, it shows here how much RAM it takes and how many executors. So, and make sure, see this is correct. It consumes 1.5 capacity units per hour. So this is going to be my notebook. I'm gonna click create now, right? I'm ready to create. Create. Let's see what's gonna happen. It's gonna start the environment. Is this initializing runtime? So starting from this minute, it's gonna be using my capacity hours. all right? And trust me, I have not used any this month, all right? So as the runtime is running, the consumed capacity hours are going up, 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 all right? They're not going down, they're not staying the same, they're going up, okay? So that's a notebook, right? There are several steps that you need to take here. Okay, so it started the notebook. Oh, okay. Yes, this is correct kernel. Select. Not sure why it asked me to confirm, but I just confirmed that this is the kernel that I need. So now what? We need to, so see this, so this is, what is it here? This is just the heading, right? This is a markdown cell because there is no code in here, right? There's some markdown cells. This is executable cell. It's going to return the Spark version. This is going to return the current timestamp, right? So those are the actual code, right? So what you will need to do is, first of all, you will have to read the data from the object storage. How do we do that? Well, okay, you need to add data to the project, all right? And I already uploaded the data. So I need to click here. I need to click on code snippets. See this code snippets. And I want to select the snippet to read data, right? And I'm going to click select data from project. And what else? I have one data set in here. So I'm going to select this amp attrition, right? So remember that I did this. I clicked on the code snippets and then I clicked on the and in data, right? The snippet to add data, to read data. See, this is the amp attrition data that I need to select. I selected that, right? And I'm going to do select right now. Okay. Now what I need to do? I need to scroll down to this code over here, this cell, see this? And I need to do, in here, I need to select the right, okay, see the Spark session data frame, the correct load S, all right? And if you don't see Spark session data frame, it means that you're probably using the Python environment without Spark. You need to use Python environment with Spark. So you're selecting this. Now make sure that your cursor is here. And I'm going to do this insert code to cell. Okay. So I can close this. The code is here. What else do I need to do? We need to go back to instructions. There are several changes that I need you to make to the code, right? So I went over this one, right? I went over this piece. This is the correct environment. And what you need to do is you need to change this one. You need to change the name of this variable, right? Why do we need to change? Because this is what it's called. This is what the data frame is called in the rest of the code, right? So it's df underscore data underscore one. I need to go back to my notebook and I have to change this one here. It's df underscore, what was that? Keep forgetting. Df underscore data underscore one, right? That's because that's how it's called everywhere else in the notebook. I would rather change it in two places than go back everywhere in my notebook and change it there, right? So if you scroll down, you will see what it's called everywhere in the data, right? So you want to have it, you want to have the same name. So see this? This is the one. So you want to make sure that whatever is here, right, this name needs to match the name that is here. It's easier to change in two locations than in one, right? And then there is one more. When you're looking at columns such as age, right, when you're looking at the statistics, you're looking at the average age, right? You are not looking at the ASCII value of age. So you want to make sure that the data is read correctly, correct data types. So you need to add this option, infer schema, true. So what that will do is it will try to infer the correct data type, right? So I'll just copy this, right? Give it lined up, and then I'm trying to make sure that I spell it right, that my capitalization is right. So I go here and I put this option in for schema, true. Okay, so header true will read the first row as a column headings. And in for schema is going to try to read the data types from the data in the file, right? So now, what is this? This is a bucket name, see this? And this line here, this is a bucket name. So you need to copy this bucket name. You can copy it from here, or you can copy it from where I showed you earlier, right? You're gonna scroll down where it says bucket over here. And you're gonna replace this word with a bucket name, all right? Now what you're gonna do, you're gonna run the entire notebook because there are some exercises, there are some examples for you to look at. And then there are also some graded exercises that are based on examples. Like for example, I showed you an example on how to display the statistics for one column. Your task is to display the statistics for different column, right? So you're gonna run this whole notebook. So you can do it one cell at a time. So I selected the top cell first, and I'm gonna go that in order. Well, of course, this is just the markdown. There is no code, all right? Like this. This one, it returns a Spark version. So far, so good, right? The date. This is just the description of the data. Remember, in Python, we start, the first element is in position 0, right? So here, it's just loading data. It's going to take a little bit of time to execute. And then we show the first 10 rows, right? So you want to make sure that works, right? And then we're just going to do, see this one? Then you're working with RDG, you're working on with different data types here, right? So it's almost done. How do you know? See that if you see this asterisk, it's still executing. Once it's done, it's gonna show a little like a number. It should be 1, next one will be 2, right? Oh, that one is 3, sorry, because we already had 2 cells, 2 executable cells, correct. So now, see that's a preview, so far so good. Now here, this is working with RDG, etc., right? So all of this you should run. And then what you're gonna do? So suppose that you're done running, right? When you're done running, you're gonna do this. You're gonna go kernel, and you're gonna stop the kernel, shut down kernel, right? So right now I'm not consuming hours. Then, well, you can save the work, right? Then you're gonna exit back to the project. Okay, you're gonna exit. I'm back to the project. And since I'm getting really paranoid, right? I want to make sure I'm not using up my hours. I always gonna go to the administration, and I'm gonna go to environmental runtimes. And I want to make sure that I currently do not have anything running, nothing. But see that I used this 0.2 capacity hours, right? So you're gonna run the notebook, right? So now let's go back. I'm gonna click on view projects, and I'll find the project that I just created. After you run this notebook, right? What you can do is you can open the notebook in a view mode. That way you can study the output without consuming the hours. This is a view mode. Then you're gonna take a piece of paper and not piece of paper, but you can take the notepad, and in the notepad, type the code for the exercise, right? Like for example, here, it's showing you how to select data, right? But here it's asking you to select different column and to show the first 5 rows. So it's going to be something like this. Select, then you list the column names, right? Dot show, and you're going to put 5. Well, something like that. See this? Here is example. Here it shows you how to select certain columns. And here it's just showing, it's doing 10 rows. Your task is to select different columns and to show 5 rows. Something like that. Because see, we want to understand what you're doing, not just blindly running the notebook. See this? Or run the code to display distinct salary values. Here it's showing the distinct department names. You're asked to do distinct salary values. Something like that. Similar, but on a different data. All right, but do not, well, ungraded exercises you need to attempt. Don't worry if you don't get them right. It's just for you something to attempt, okay? So this one is Spark SQL. So here, this one, it shows number of employees who worked for the department in column 1. So basically, what you're listing is here, you're showing the department name and number of employees per department, right? That one is people who left. And the other one is people who stayed, right? Attrition 0 means they stayed. You're doing some plots. But then for the exercise, you ask this, you ask salary level and number of employees at each salary level in column 1. So you need to do something like low, 10 people, high, 50 people. I'm just giving you an example, right? Over here, you are grouping on which column, different columns, see? Here you are grouping on department. In your exercise, you're asked to group on salary level, all right? Then we take for ungraded exercise, we take a little bit, make a little bit another step. You want to have 2 grouping column, department name and a salary, right? Remember that when you have a SQL statement, SQL has select clause where you specify which columns you select. You have a from clause where you specify the table, right? And the where clause where you specify some conditions to fill the rows. Group by. So every non-aggregate column in a select clause needs to appear in a group by clause. So here I'm grouping by department. I have to put group by department, right? In your assignment, if you're grouping by salary level, you have to put salary level in the group by, right? Here, if you're grouping by both department level and salary level, then you're gonna have to put 2 columns in the group by. Here it's taking 1 more level. It's going a little bit higher. It's taking 1 more level, 3 grouping column. Then group by is gonna have 3 grouping column, right? This one is a little bit of tricky. So here you want to, how do you know number of employees that were, well, to know the number of employees who were left, if an employee left, then attrition column is 1, right? Remember that you have attrition column. 1 is when employee left the workplace. So if you take the sum of that column, you're gonna get the number of people who left, right? How do I know how many people stayed? Well, if I take a count, I know the total number of people, right? The number of people who stayed is the total number of people minus the number of people who left. Well, don't worry, you're gonna get the answer for this, but this is just, don't spend a lot of hours on it, okay? Just an attempt, that's all. So, you write the code in a notepad. When you're ready, only when your code is ready, you're gonna do this. You're gonna click on edit. That will put your notebook in the edit mode. You're gonna go, it's starting the environment now. So here we have to be very careful. Do not close the tab, right? So what you'll do is this. You're gonna go back, you're gonna scroll down, right? You don't need to redo credentials because it's saved, and you're gonna find those cells where it's asking you to enter the code for your exercise, right? Like, yep, you're gonna put the graded exercise 1 code here, etc. You're gonna copy and paste. Then what you're gonna do, you're gonna go here, kernel, and you want to clear all output and restart from the beginning, right? So you click here, restart kernel and clear all outputs. We want to restart from scratch, and I'm going to click on restart. This is what you're going to do, all right? So once it's restarted, and how do you know? See this, it's empty. You're going to run the code again, right? The whole thing with your answers. When you're done, you need to download, right? So it's save notebook as, and you want to save it as HTML, right? You're going to save it as HTML, and it's supposed to save it on your computer, right? But then on your PC, you could find where the file was downloaded, right? I think in my case, it's going to the downloads, right? So I would have to search where I downloaded, date modified, and it's gonna be in my downloads. And then I can just open a file in a browser, and after that I can just when I open the file in the browser, and then I can print it to PDF. See this is here, this one. So I just right click, and I'm going to open it with the browser, right? So send to or open with, open. Let's see what it's gonna do. It's gonna open with this browser. Maybe this browser is set up as a default. Okay, so here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna print this to PDF, right? So if I go something like Control P, see here, I can print it and I can save it as PDF. That's one way. Or you can turn in as HTML. You have this choice. Okay, so it saved it. You need to turn in the notebook with all your outputs. Okay, but while I'm doing blah, 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 blah right now, what's happening to my capacity hours? They're going up, right? So I need to do this. I need to stop the kernel. I'm going to shut down the kernel. And I'm shutting it down. See, it says terminated. And that's it, right? So that will stop consuming capacity hours. But if I forgot to stop the kernel, I will have this option when I go to all of my runtimes, right? So it's terminated, so I'll go back here. Let's see. And I'm gonna go back here, and I go to here, administration, and I'm gonna check my runtimes to make sure that I'm not running anything, okay? Currently, nothing running. If I was running something, it's gonna show here, and in the options, you would have an option to stop the runtime, okay? Please make sure that you stop, because I did have students who did not follow these instructions and they ran out of hours. So please, 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 it's not going to be you who runs out of hours, okay? So now I'll go back. Okay, so this is how to restart the kernel. You have to restart the kernel and clear all output, right? So this is where you see the environmental runtime. Now we have just 10 hours, used to be 25 years ago, but things change. People abused it. They would start the environment and not stop. So that was a problem. Oh, well, here it just shows you which kernel are you using. If you click on I, it's just gonna say which Spark version, etc. But here is the problem. Suppose that you made a mistake. You selected the wrong runtime environment, right? You would probably gonna go back to your project, view all projects, and you're probably gonna go and delete the notebook, okay? Probably. But remember this, deleting the notebook does not necessarily stop the runtime. You have to stop the runtime, okay? Please do not forget to stop the runtime. Yes, it happens. Sometimes you may select the wrong runtime, and you may go back here and try to delete the notebook. Okay, but that does not automatically stop the runtime. Okay. But what else could happen is sometimes people have this open notebook in two tabs. Then you're gonna be, if it's open in the edit mode in two tabs, you're gonna be consuming your hours twice. Do we want this to happen? No, we don't, right? So please, please, please watch out because you have plenty of hours. 6.6 hours is more than plenty. You need to prepare your code ahead of time and then copy, right? Another thing is that this is not assignment 2, this is a pre-assignment 2. Assignment 2 will be unlocked when you submit this assignment. Assignment 2 will have 3 parts. First part, you're going to be given the code and you will need to just do credentials and a bucket name and run, okay? Second part, you will need to edit the code for a different data. Well, you'll need to make sure that you understand how the first part works, right? Before you start working on the second part. I'm going to do another help session in 2 weeks. And in that help session, I'm going to show you different examples that's not in the classroom. Going to be totally different examples. So I strongly recommend to attend the session. And I'm going to go over important step on how to parse the data correctly. There is a step in assignment 2 that gets students, and I'm going to go over that step. But please, please, please schedule some time to attend the session in about 2 weeks. The details will be posted later, all right? But from today's session, I just wanted you to make sure that you learn how to use the environment, right? That's more important. And also, you may have noticed that it shows you the hours that you have used inside the project, right? But you may say, wait a minute, what happens if I create different project? Am I gonna get 10 more hours? No, you do not, okay? Also, here it says that I've used 0.2 hours, right? It does, but those are just the hours within this project. You have only 10 hours total. It does not matter in which project you use, right? So on the last day of a month, late in the evening, you're gonna get your hours will be reset to 10, right? But before that, just watch out. I had students run out of hours because they're not following instructions. They did not stop the kernel. They forgot to check if something is running. I would rather check it twice than run out of my hours in a day or so, right? So just please, please, please do yourself a favor, follow the instructions, and you'll be good. It's plenty of hours. For assignment 2, first part should not take more than 1 hour. In fact, should not take more than half an hour because all you do is just the credentials and copy the bucket name, right? And run. Save the output, and that's it, right? Oh, another thing that I need to tell you is that there is a quiz that you need to answer that goes with this. Please make sure that you have the output in front of you because there are some questions about the output that the code returns, okay? Another thing is that if the question stem says to select 2 answers, then you need to select 2 answer choices. If it does not say, if it says select the best answer, then there is only 1 answer. Unfortunately, some students struggle to count until 3. No, seriously. It says to select 3 answers, they select only 2. Or if it says to select the best answer, they select 2 or 3. So that's a main catch on the assignment. Read what the question says. And again, if it says to select the best answer, you select 1 answer. But if it's more than 1 answer that needs to be selected, it tells you how many answers to select, okay? It does not say choose all that apply, but it specifically says choose 3 answers, choose 2 answers, all right? I just had to tell that because that's where some people do not follow instructions, and I want to make sure everybody follows instructions and everybody gets maximum value from this assignment, right? So this is just some sample notebooks that you could look at. This is just for you, right? Okay, so do you have any questions for me? Please go ahead and ask. I like questions.
Good evening.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Professor, yeah. I just wanted to ask if there'll be a recording of this
Yes.
available in class.
Oh, the recording. Yes. What I'm gonna do is, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna yes, I'm gonna provide the I'm gonna provide the faculty. I'm gonna provide him the recording and the slides, and he will post.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so
Professor Ozan,
much.
yes, Professor Ozan is going to post the recordings and the slides because, yeah, I'm unable to post it. So he was good. He'll take care of this, right?
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, bro.
Sure, sure. Any other questions? Anything I can assist you with? No? And everybody understands why assignment 2 is locked, right? Because we need to make sure that you know how to access the environment. There is a temptation to jump to assignments that worth more points, right? I've been there,
Mhm.
right? But we want to make sure that you're ready for that assignment. So the sooner you submit this assignment, the more time you have for the assignment 2. Make sense? Sounds fair?
Mhm.
All right. Anything else? No? Well, if there are no more questions, I'm gonna call it a night and I'm gonna see you in about 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yes. We're
Thank you
gonna
so
talk.
much.
Thank you
Sure.
so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you all.
Have a wonderful
Yeah.
evening.
You
Yeah.
too. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Yeah.
Bye.